Let's talk about some of the races that are really heating up in the area, one of them being Mike Whalen and Bruce Braley. And it appears Mike Whalen is taking the lead in this, but for a while it was neck and neck. A lot of people talking about the negative campaigning. How do you feel about it?
Well, I don't like negative campaigning. Quite frankly, the last time I was up for election 2 years ago was the only time I didn't have it used against me, and it was the most enjoyable campaign I ever had. Because if it isn't used against you, and if it is used against you, and you find out it's working, then you've got to use negative campaigning. If people don't like negative campaigning, the one thing they could do is don't respond to it, because nobody's going to spend tens of thousands of dollars with your television station to put on negative advertisement if it's not working. So it works, people respond to it. If people don't like it, don't respond to it.
The latest Associated Press poll shows that voter interest is at the highest level that it's been at in more than a decade here in Iowa. 70% say that they plan to vote. They're already talking politics with their family. 43% are discussing it at work. Why do you think there's going to be such a big turnout and it is of such great interest this year as opposed to years past?
Well, first of all, two competent people running for governor. One, I think, is more competent than the other, Congressman Nussle, as you'd expect me to say. But I think he has good plans for our state, and that's going down the road. But it's a very competitive race, and that helps. And then we have a couple other competitive races that are getting a lot of attention. For instance, the Secretary of Agriculture's race in Iowa was mentioned in a New York Times editorial, highlighted very much. So that's getting some attention. We have a good race for Secretary of State, Marianne Hanusa, running on the Republican ticket. So I think that makes a difference. And then the control of the legislature. Just think, the state Senate, 25-25, and the House of Representatives, 51-49 Republican. It's very competitive. Plus, I think the opportunity to elect a new governor after 8 years of Governor Vilsack brings attention to it. And then don't forget, Iowa's got all these presidential candidates coming out here campaigning for these people, bringing attention to it. We ought to be proud that 70% of the people in Iowa are going to vote, when maybe in the nation as a whole, you know, it might be 35 to 40%.
It's a great number, and if you trust the poll numbers again, Nussle and Culver are in a dead heat, still just weeks away from this election. What do you think is the one issue that's going to win this race for one of these candidates?
Oh, I think a feeling that if the Democrats control the legislature and the governorship, that we're going to have an increase in taxes one way or another, even though that doesn't tend to be the main issue, but that tends to be what their response is, bigger government.
We're about out of time, but quickly, how big a danger is the Republican Party in losing control of Congress?
Well, I think right now it's touch and go, at least for the House of Representatives. I think we'll end up losing a few seats, but controlling the House. In the case of the United States Senate, we might lose 1 or 2 seats, but I think we're going to still have a good number to control.
We'll see come November. Senator Grassley, thanks so much for being with us.